Today, we're diving deep looking for the most expensive shiny Pokémon, the real cost, the combination of cold, hard cash for the games, the insane time commitment, and the sheer nightmare luck some of these mythical and legendary shiny Pokémon required the way Game Freak intended. Pokémon that Game Freak made so exclusive, almost impossible to obtain legitimately. Let's start with Shiny Manaphy. To get a shot at a legitimate shiny Manaphy, you would have to sell your soul to the devil. First, you needed the original Pokémon Ranger game for the Nintendo DS. This game, back in 2006 to 2007, cost around $30 to $35. But the problem is, each copy only gave out one Manaphy egg mission. Real quick, please consider subscribing as I only have like 200 subscribers, and it would mean a lot. Thank you. So, serious shiny hunters back in the day, they were buying multiple copies of this game. Then the egg you got in Ranger would be impossible to hatch shiny in the game you sent it to. You needed at least 2 Nintendo DS systems and 2 copies of the Gen 4 main series game. Diamond, Pearls, Platinum, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver, costing another $30 to $40 each. This process was insane. Transfer the egg, trade it, hatch it if it's not shiny. Soft reset the Gen 4 game, trade the egg back to the Ranger games, wipe the Ranger save, restart it to get a new trainer ID, and repeat the entire process thousands of times. The shiny odds in Generation 4 were already a brutal one in 8,192. Factoring in needing multiple games and consoles, the total cost here adds up. Not to mention the mind-numbing time you had to go through just to hatch the egg and the initial investment in multiple game cartridges and DS systems. If you wanted to streamline it by getting multiple Ranger games with unredeemed eggs, you were easily looking at spending over $100 just on that, plus the Gen 4 games and the consoles. Next up, the Wish Pokémon, Jirachi. Getting a shiny Jirachi legitimately also involved a specific piece of hardware and a bit of gamble. We're talking about the Pokémon Coliseum bonus disc in North America, released around 2003 to 2004. The Pokémon Coliseum game itself cost around $50 back then. The bonus disc, which contained the Wishmaker Jirachi distribution, was a pre-order bonus. But fast forward to today, if you want to relive this or get a chance at a shiny Jirachi the way actually Game Freak intended, that bonus disc alone can cost you $150 to $250 on eBay. And that's just for the disc. You also needed a GameCube, a Game Boy Advance, and a link cable, adding another significant initial hardware cost back in the day. Just like Manaphy, Jirachi was received at level 5 with a random nature. And yes, it was possible to soft reset for a shiny on your Generation 3 Game Boy Advance games, Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald. Again, with the 1 in 8,192 odds, people had to put a lot of hours resetting their GBAs after every transfer if you wanted that shiny golden star. So while the initial cost was tied to the Coliseum game and the necessary hardware, the actual hunt of a shiny Jirachi also added a hefty time investment. The legacy of event exclusivity. Ultra-rare Pokemon like Mew and Deoxys. Back in the Game Boy Advance era, many Mythicals and their shiny forms were distributed through exclusive real-world events, predominantly held in Japan. Pokemon Festa, Nintendo World events, and even collaboration with things like the Pokemon Park and Aichi. The idea wasn't to give every player access to these Pokemon. They were meant to be special, limited, almost legendary within the game's universe, mirroring their mythical status in the lore. These events often required you to be there physically in specific locations at specific times. For a young Pokemon fan living outside of Japan, or even within Japan, but without the financial means or ability to travel, obtaining these Pokemon legitimately was near impossible. And yes, many of these event Pokemon, like Mew and Deoxys, were initially shiny locked during their first legitimate distributions. The rarity wasn't just in getting the Pokemon itself, but the potential for a shiny version down the line became a holy grail for collectors.
And I did not even notice a shiny Giratina. A shiny Giratina, and I didn't notice it. I cannot believe I have a shiny Giratina. What the Guys, my game just froze. Are you kidding me? Look at that thing. And it's lost. I can never get it back.
Pokemon Go's $5 Mythicals, the modern paywall. Now let's fast forward to the mobile realm and Pokemon Go. Niantic has found a new way to monetize these mythical shiny locked Pokemons. You had to buy the special or masterwork research. We've seen this with Shiny Mew, Shiny Genesect, Shiny Diancie, and most recently Shiny Meloetta, with tickets typically costing from $5 to $35. On the surface, $5 doesn't seem like much for a chance at a shiny mythical, but let's break this down. These researches are incredibly long and grindy, catching hundreds of Pokemon and walking really long distances, completing specific tasks during limited time events within the research. It's a massive time sink. And even after all that effort, the shiny encounter at the end, while guaranteed, still feels like it's locked behind that initial paywall. These are Pokemon that were once incredibly exclusive, tied to real-world events that most players couldn't attend to. Now, they're being offered for a cash grab on Pokémon Go, but with a huge time commitment attached. It raises the question, is this making these Pokémon more accessible, or is it just a way to capitalize on players' fear of missing out and the desire to complete their shiny Pokédex? For dedicated free-to-play players, missing these paid researches means potentially missing out on these shiny mythicals entirely forever. And while $5 might not break the bank, for players around the world, or for those who want every single shiny mythical offered this way, the cost can feel scummy, and it definitely feels like a shift on how these super rare Pokemon are being distributed. Now here's where things get a bit complicated. The internet is a really big space, and dedicated Pokemon fans, the Poke nerds and experts, they are a resourceful bunch. Over time, through data mining, reverse engineering, and exploiting glitches or using data transferring methods, they found how to obtain these event-exclusive Pokemon for free on just your PC, and in some cases, even manipulate them to be shiny. This often involved things like transferring data between game cartridges or using unofficial software. It's a testament to the shiny hunting community's passion, but it also highlights the inherent exclusivity that Game Freak baked into these distributions. The numbers distributed at these events were often relatively small, making them genuinely rare. For a young fanbase without financial independence, attending these events was a dream, so legitimately acquiring them was near impossible, even if, let's say, you have a time machine to go back to 2005. The shiny locked mythical landscape is changing, so we've gone from needing multiple consoles and game cartridges to spend hundreds of hours for a shot at a shiny Manaphy, to traveling across Japan for a chance at Mew or Deoxys, to now paying a small fee on our phones for a guaranteed shiny mythical in Pokemon Go, with a massive time commitment which I think is worse than waiting for a shiny Pokemon to appear. While Pokemon Go offers a more globally accessible way to obtain some of these rare creatures, the shift towards pay-locked content for previously ultra-exclusive mythicals does feel like a significant change. Whether it's scummy from Pokemon Go is subjective, but it undeniably alters the landscape of Pokemon rarity and the sense of accomplishment associated with obtaining these mythical beings. Your first chance at a shiny mythical was back in 2002 to 2005, if you were even born back then. You needed to book yourself a flight to Japan and attend the Pokemon Fest and bring your DS. That method is impossible now. Your next chance at getting a mythical was through the paid research pass on Pokemon Go, which was just a few years ago. But if you miss both of these chances, then the best thing you can do now is to shiny hunt these Pokemon through glitches. Now these glitched shiny mythicals are completely free, and you can get them by breaking the game, so if you want to know how to get these shiny mythicals and transfer them to Pokemon Home and use them forever with perfect Ivies and perfect Natures before they go extinct, then let me know in the comments if I should make a video on that.
A shutdown of this service would render certain shiny Pokemon completely unobtainable outside of special events, and the fate of these Pokemon rests in one other Pokemon's hands, and his name is question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Trails Pokemon did a great job at collecting these mythical Pokemon for free using extreme glitches. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe, and go watch this video.